Hey YouTube, what is going on? It's Huncho here, back with another video. I know this has been a long awaited video and it's finally ready. This is going to be my full Windows 1709 post-install guide. I'm still going to add things later that you guys will see in a future video, but this will cover everything that you're going to need to get up and running to play your game. And then there will be a few tweaks later that will either help with like ping in game or some more FPS things, turning off a few more drivers in the background, things along those lines that I'll add in future videos and add to the guide itself. So if you are watching this from a future date, you will see something towards the end of this guide. As I scroll down, there will be a 14th item here, which will be for added on features that were not included in the first post install guide. So even if you're watching this 2 months from when the video was posted, you're going to see everything in this guide, and I will also link the videos where I add things to it as well if you need to follow the video and just not the guide. If you guys want to support me, please just hit that subscribe button. That's all I'm asking in return for this whole guide I made, as well as the reg files and everything else, putting together from things that I've done myself and from other people. So hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and let's get into this. So an easy trick to download a file for your next Windows is to download the file dropper or Google Drive link for my 1709 pack. And when you're in your new Windows, like I currently am, you can go to this PC, whatever drive your old Windows was on, Windows old. I saved it to my desktop, so I'm going to go users, Justin, desktop, and it was in here, and then I pulled it to the desktop. So the first thing we're going to do is download Rufus. This is the website for it. So you're going to need a flash drive of at least 8 gigabytes to be able to do this, and anything that's on the flash drive, like photos or anything, will be deleted, so make sure you save anything that's previously on your flash drive. But this is how to properly download the ISO. So once we have it downloaded, if it gives you the option for updates from the internet, make sure you click that, otherwise you won't be able to download it most likely. And you're going to select download here. Download Windows 10. The release, we're going to go to the 1709, continue, Windows 10 Home and Pro, and then select your language, and continue, and then it's going to download for you. So our next step here is going to be using the run tool and typing in msinfo32, and under this main page here, we're going to see BIOS mode, UEFI. So if you have the UEFI, these are the settings that you're going to want right here. If you're in legacy mode, you're going to change this to MBR, and it should switch all the other settings for you. So now we're going to click start, click OK. Now it's going to run all of this. I'm not going to show this in the video, but then when it shows the green ready, then we're ready to go into BIOS. So after you get into BIOS, by holding the delete key, F1 or F2, whatever pops up on your screen, we're going to change in BIOS our boot menu, most of the time it's F8, to the UEFI USB stick. If you know how many gigabytes your USB stick is, it'll say it right on the screen, like 32 gigabytes or 16 gigabytes. And then your computer will launch up. You can either enter your product key now or do it later. Just remember to create an offline profile of Windows when we go through this. Install Windows 10 Pro. Choose Custom, install Windows Only Advanced. And do that to your main storage partition, which is going to be most likely your most gigabytes. And if you have an SSD and a hard drive, make sure you install it to your SSD. The following Windows steps that go through, just do the normal ones that you would normally do, it doesn't matter. And now you can either go to the internet, to YouTube, search my name, click on the video, and click on the file dropper link. Or if you pre-downloaded it on your old Windows, you can get it from there. So make sure we activate our Windows. Now our first steps are going to be to turn off the updates. Go to setups. You don't have to install Chrome and Discord if you don't want to, but you need to do the DirectX runtimes. Make sure you do not install the Bing bar and install these. and then install the VCs as well. If you download Discord, go to the settings tab at the bottom, turn off overlays, notification, turn off all three of these top ones for desktop, the badge, and the flashing. Go to Windows settings. You do not want it to start with your computer. And then under appearance, scroll down and turn off hardware acceleration. You'll have to restart Discord at this point. In Google Chrome, we're going to go to the top right, the three dots, settings, scroll down, advanced, turn off hardware acceleration, and turn off continue running background apps when Chrome is closed, and then click the relaunch. I've included the downloaders for Intel and Realtek to download the newest internet driver for yourself. You don't need to download these two things for Intel. And then download the Net framework. Make sure you install your Fortnite onto the same drive that you have your Windows on. When you're in the Epic Games Launcher, open up the Friends tab, go to Social Settings, turn off Show Notifications, go down to Settings, turn off Minimize the System Tray, run when my computer starts, allow installs, enable cloud, disable the desktop notifications, and you're all set with that. Okay, so we're going to go on to the second step here, under GPU. The beginning of this part is going to be for NVIDIA. For AMD, you can just update to the latest because I'm not sure which ones are the best, and to be honest, there's not much information about AMD graphics cards and drivers that at least I've found for which one's the best, and since I don't have a card, I can't really test it, but I have the best control panel settings if you scroll down in the guide, and I'll show it after I do this NVIDIA part in the video. So we're going to open our computer in safe mode. So if you don't know how to get into safe mode from like this point, you can right click on this, go to restart, and hold down shift. You're then going to go to troubleshoot. When you get to this screen, click advanced options. Like it says here, click on startup settings. If you don't see it, you're going to have to click the see more recovery options, then startup settings. Then when you're on this screen of startup settings, you're going to hit restart. And then when it pops up again after it restarts, you're going to press 4 or F4, or you can either do 5 or F5. So when you're in safe mode, you're going to open up DDU and display driver uninstaller. You're going to go to device type, GPU. It's going to auto select NVIDIA for it because it recognizes it. And then you're going to click clean and restart, and your computer will boot back up, not in safe mode, and you'll be ready to continue the video. If you want to be sure of this part, that your computer will not automatically download your GPU driver, you can unplug your Ethernet or turn off your Wi-Fi at this point. So now we're going to go back into the folder, GPU, click on NV Clean Install, and click on Manually Select Driver Version. Right now we're going to do the 457.51 because I have not tested the new drivers yet, and I know this one is very stable for Fortnite. If you really want to use the GeForce Experience and Shadowplay for clipping, make sure you check all of these. In my next video I am going to be showing the best settings to use for OBS and how to clip using OBS instead of the GeForce Experience. So then we're going to select next. This part can take a while depending on your internet speed. So then like the image over here, we're going to select all of these. Select next. And then it will begin installing, and then it will auto install the driver itself, and you just have to select yes so it can continue on your computer. So if when you install your NVIDIA control panel, if it doesn't work and it doesn't pop up, you're going to have to redo these steps. Sometimes it's just a glitch that happens. So what we're going to do now is go into 457.51, go to NVIDIA Inspector. Now when we're in here, we're going to hit Import Profile, and it's in the same folder that you were just in, so if it doesn't automatically pop up, it's under the Huncho GPU 457.51. and then open. Click OK, and then click apply. I have this in here for future use. If you ever download a different driver, to use this first, and then change your NVIDIA settings. So now we're going to open up the NVIDIA control panel. Manage 3D settings. Once you have Fortnite installed, you're going to want to change the image sharpening to off and low latency mode to off. For some reason it doesn't want to change those settings even though it's applied in the profile. Everything else should be right. Then you're going to go down to adjust desktop size and position. Click no scaling. And if you have the option for display, click override. If you only have the option for GPU, then leave it unchecked. Then we're going to go back to our resolution and make sure that we're on the right resolution. As you can see, I'm not. So I'm going to go to this and 240 and apply. The AMD GPU settings, this is their website to download the driver. And these are the settings that I've found were the best when I used to have AMD back in the day. So now we're going to open up Device Manager, View, Devices by Connection, and we're going to go down and find our USB controller. So this one for me. Right click on it, Properties, Power Management, and uncheck this box. So now for all of these that says USB, we want to uncheck the box for allow the computer to turn off the device to save power. As you can see, none of the composite devices will have it. And once you set it under the root hub, it'll already be set underneath it for your storage device. But for the USB input devices, you'll need to change it itself. Now when you go one step further, you'll see the HID. You're going to want to right click on those and any of them that you can change. You want to uncheck allow this device to wake the computer. So now when we're still sorted by devices by connection, these are all the things that we're going to turn off. So as you see, my PCI device here does not have a driver, which means I do not need it. Because if it didn't install with your first update, when you first installed Windows, you don't need it. So all we're going to do is right click, disable device. And if something stops working, and if you can't get into the Windows, all you have to do is enter safe mode and then do the same thing and enable it. But most of the time, if something goes wrong, you can just go straight back in and enable it yourself. With the high definition audio controller, sometimes if you turn this off, you won't get audio. So just try it yourself and see if it turns off for you. If you use a separate device, you definitely can turn it off. Make sure if you're disabling your PCI bridges that aren't connected to anything, that they are not connected to anything. Like this one is connected, but this one is not. You have to do this in View Devices by Connection to see if something's connected to it. So now we're going to go to our File Explorer, go to this PC, right click on the disk that we're using, go to Properties, and then uncheck this bottom box here, click Apply to both the subfolders and files, continue, and then hit Ignore All. So the next step is going to be the registry. You're going to run this reg file as an admin, so right click on it, run as administrator. And then you're going to run the script. I'm going to roll through this fast in the video. But everything you need to know if you have questions should be in the guide. I laid out an explanation for everything except things that were self-explanatory. So if you haven't already, make sure you extract this to your desktop, otherwise some of these bat files won't work properly. For example, this one will auto-install these 4 Powerplans here. So just right-click, run as admin. And then I'm going to go to the Power Options, Show Additional Plans. Then you're going to see these 4. For example, when you're using like this low latency one, it turns your idle off, so you might get higher CPU temperatures. And in your task manager, it'll show you that you're running at 100% even though you're not actually. Like as you see when I switch to this one, I'm not actually running at 100%. So then we're going to go to Debloat Windows, run this as admin. You're going to get this window to pop up. I do the customized blacklist. I don't use any of these. Some of these will say conflict because they have been uninstalled already through the reg file. If you want to run through it and make sure you're not deleting anything that comes on your PC of the ones that say installed, and you want to keep it, make sure you run through these. Otherwise, if you're just strictly gaming, you can get rid of all of these. And then I'm going to remove with the customized blacklist. So then I'm going to disable Cortana, stop the Edge takeover, uninstall OneDrive, unpin everything from my start menu, remove the bloatware reg keys, and disable telemetry and tasks. So now we're going to go to network settings. I'm going to uncheck everything that I'm not going to use here. Obviously, if you use any of these, keep them checked. But for strictly gaming, you do not. I'm going to go right back into it. I'm going to go to configure here. Power management. Uncheck these 2 boxes. Click OK. Close. Going back in again. Click on the version 4. Properties. Advanced. The Wins tab. You're going to uncheck the LM hosts. And you're going to check Disable Net BIOS over TCP. So then the next step, in the properties, under Configure, under Advanced, the few I want to talk about here is the interrupt moderation. This guy here has a good article talking about it, whether you should have it off or on adaptive or medium. For me, I have better results with it off, but you might have better results with it on adaptive or medium, so try using that. And then with your checksum offloads and anything with offload except for the large sends, keeping the RX and TX enabled will take the strain off your CPU. But if you have a high-end PC, you want your CPU running these tasks because your CPU is going to run much faster than your network card will. So I'm just going to quickly run through and change these. I mentioned it here about the buffers. You can either try with low or high. If you do have gigabyte internet, it's usually better just to go with a high number. If you use too small of a number, sometimes you can get packet loss using this. So if you do get packet loss with a smaller number, like 80, just bump it up until you find a spot that works the best for you. But Intel recommends using the max if you have gigabyte internet. If you leave Windows Defender, make sure you do this step here. If you get rid of it, then you don't need to do this step. So now we're going to take the host file and we're going to go into our C disk, Windows, System32, drivers, the etc folder, and this host file here. We're going to paste the new one. Then we're going to go back into the network folder and run the batch file as administrator, as well as the registry file. In the CMD folder, we're going to run this CMD bat. Timer resolution. Talked about this previously. If you have less than 16 gigabytes of RAM, use ISLC, these settings. Otherwise, use this timer resolution. So you're going to run this bat. And that's it. It'll set it up for you. Under affinities, this can get tricky for some people. We're going to go to the interrupt affinity policy tool, run the x64 as an admin. If you run as admin, none of these errors matter. So this is what we're going to follow right here. I have 8 cores and 8 processors. If you don't know, you can go to Task Manager, look under your CPU, 8 cores, 8 processors. You're going to do this for your GPU and your USB. If you don't know what they are, you're going to go into your device manager, view devices by connection, scroll down, it'll be under a PCI bridge or PCIe controller. Here's my GPU right here. I'm going to right click, properties, and it's 100. So when I go over here, I'm going to type in N because I have NVIDIA and it'll bring me right here, 100. I'm going to set this mask to CPU 2. Okay. Don't restart now. And now the bridge that my GPU is under, or PCIe controller, if you did install the chipset, you're going to do the same thing, properties, 010. So 010. You're going to set that to the same as your GPU. Don't restart now. Then lastly, for our USB, if you have more than one USB host controller, make sure you figure out which one your mouse and keyboard or controller is connected to. If you're not sure, just look at it, unplug it, and if it goes away, then that's obviously your mouse. I'm going to right click, properties, 020. As you can see, it's an XHCL host controller. You can also go under details, device description, and it'll be the same. And I'm going to set this to CPU 4, like I say here. So now for IRQs, this is a template here. So if you right click, edit, run, you're going to get this. And now we're going to go and run ms info 32, hardware resources, IRQs, and we're going to scroll down here. Here's my USB. And as you see, my GPU did not get put into MSI when I downloaded the driver, and it's up here. So that means I need to go back a step, go to the MSI utility, run as admin, and set my GPU to MSI mode and apply. Since I didn't restart my PC in between, it did not switch over to MSI mode. So I'm going to restart my PC and come back to this step. So now that we're back here, I'm going to do the same thing again. And as you'll see, my GPU is no longer up there and it's down here. So when I go into Affinity, IRQs, and edit this template, you want your GPU number to be 1 and your USB number to be 2. If you have multiple USBs, just set them all to 2. Easiest way to do it. Then we're just going to go right back to the folder and we're just going to run the reg file. One more thing I want to say, after you set your interrupt policy tool, you'll be able to run as admin and set your PCI bridge or your GPU to MSI mode as well. I also recommend putting your interrupt priorities to undefined for all of them. I seem to have better results with that, as well as other people. Do not set anything to MSI mode unless it says supported here. If for some case you did set your PCI bridge, which won't say it's supported most likely, to MSI mode and you blue screen because of it, if you go into safe mode, you'll immediately be able to just change this in the MSI mode utility and uncheck it, and you'll be ready to go again. Mouse settings, we're going to run the reg file and run this bottom reg file. This other one will set you back to the default settings. Then under Fortnite, this will delete your Fortnite game folder every time, so you can either put it in your startup by going to run shell startup. It'll bring you to this folder and you can just place it in there, and every single time you start up, it will reset all of the cache, replays, everything that you've saved in the Fortnite game folder, or you can just put it right on the desktop and do it whenever you want. And then you're going to run this reg file as normal priority. Like I say here, if you do use this folder, it will reset your in-game settings, such as the textures and stuff, not your controller or mouse settings. But if you don't want those to change, you can put the game user settings on read only. So then we're going to follow this path here, if this is where Fortnite downloaded for you. So program files, Epic Games, Fortnite, Fortnite game, binaries, Win64. Now for the 4 applications here, we're going to right click, properties, compatibility. You're going to check override high DPI scaling for application, and then disable full screen optimizations and apply. The Fortnite settings that I use are 240 FPS with G-Tune 5, everything on low, motion blur off, VSync off, FPS on, DX11, multi-thread rendering on plus boost, off, and DLSS off, and then sound quality on low. Lastly, this extras folder. This is a cache cleaner. Your CRU for custom resolutions that I'm going to make another video on in the near future. This image health command will bring you to this screen where you can run different things to check the health of your PC. This is for overclocking your mouse or controller. The device cleanup, you can select all, remove selected. These are all the things that were unplugged and then replugged into your PC. And then these are some shortcuts quickly to get to things. So we're going to go to the keyboard, set this to short. Mouse, we're going to set this to the middle one. Click apply. Go to enhance pointer precision, uncheck that. Programs and features, turn Windows features on or off. I don't use any of the media features, or print, document writer, print, remote, SMB. I do use PowerShell, I don't use Work Folders Client or XPS. I'll turn all those off, which will then prompt me to restart my computer, which I will indeed. This Windows ISO is created to go from a generic ISO to create what you want, turn everything on that you want, turn everything off that you want, and be able to customize it to your liking of what you want to keep on and off inside of Windows. If you guys like this video and want me to do more, or maybe custom ISOs that are built specifically for gaming, or reviewing other people's ISOs that have already been made, let me know in the comments down below. Again, please hit that subscribe button. I'm going to continue making gaming content in the future, and you're not going to want to miss anything. Peace out.